Shout out to J&J.
So I just want to send a shout out to J&J Sports for having me once again.
Episodes, man. You guys got a real good thing going on.
Well, okay, so this is going to be an interesting topic.
Yeah.
I never thought that we'd be talking about serial killers on J&J Sports, but believe it or not, there were actually 3 known serial killers to have played in the NFL.
Wow.
And I found this article on forkball.com, and they give the official FBI definition of a serial killer. And it is one or more offenders. Sometimes they work with an accomplice. 2 or more victims, and then they mention a cooling off period with the deaths happening at different times, separate events.
Wow.
And so just to get us started, the world of serial killers, the world of sports, which sport would you have had thought to be had the most NFL serial killers?
At first, NFL, boxing, even basketball, but I've noticed a lot of these outside sports be the main people that's got some stuff going on. Like the hockey situation, with the Flames. A lot of people are, they had some sexual assault charges going on. So, I'm gonna say football though. I think football is like the most, common.
Yeah, that is where we found these serial killers. I was thinking possibly baseball. I'm not sure why. I think maybe it's just like the attitude.
Right.
That they have.
Exactly. I can see baseball too. It's a lot of those sports that's kind of like a lot of people don't tune into. That's the NFL is the most watched sport. So it's like we know about the outside cases, but serial killing, that's a whole nother level. You killing in different, you know what I mean? And it always be those outside sports. So, yeah.
Yeah, in the NFL, we actually found 3 known serial killers. The first is Robert Rozier Jr. He was a military brat, played college football at Berkeley, and in the NFL, the St. Louis Cardinals drafted him in 1979. He only played in 6 regular season games, and check fraud ended up messing up his Canadian football chances. The Oakland Raiders took him on, and it was only for 2 weeks, and then they released him. Does it sound like when it comes to football, he was his own worst enemy?
Absolutely. You're switching to these different teams, different stuff, and you're there for a week at a time, few days at a time. You're the problem. Because why you have to go to different teams and you got to stick to one.
Yeah, and like the check fraud and all that stuff he probably could have avoided, and he could have been paid ball player money instead.
Right, exactly. For quick scheme money.
He ended up joining a cult and was ordered to actually kill people in order to join the cult. He ended up doing it, and he confessed to 7 murders and ended up convicted of 4 of them, getting a 22-year sentence. He only served 10 years after turning state's evidence against the cult leader.
Okay.
So, looking at this and looking at his football past and everything, does it sound like maybe he was looking for a community and a cult like he had with his football teams?
Yeah, he was looking for something. You know what I mean? But you weren't in the right field from the beginning with. If you were trying to kill and do all this other stuff, yeah. He was just in the wrong area.
Yeah, if that's what it takes to join something like that, maybe look into something else.
Yeah,
as opposed to
because you're in the wrong profession if you're trying to do all of that other stuff. You know what I mean? So
we have him listed as our first killer here because he had never killed again. Actually, after that, he ended up spending time with kids, and he even worked in web design briefly. Unfortunately, though, more bad checks and the 3-strike law in California got him that life sentence, and he still lives in prison today. So he couldn't resist the bad checks?
Yeah, I guess because, football didn't work out. Like you said, if he would have chilled on the checks, he could have got big money, at least enough to manage his life. But, yeah, it's his mentality. It wasn't right.
Yeah, and there was something going on in his brain. When he was arrested, he ended up telling the police he was 404 years old, and he couldn't remember his life before conversion.
Right.
So do you think that he really believed he was 404 years old?
Probably. You know what I mean? Probably a mental breakdown. Yeah, he probably believed it.
And our next serial killer from the NFL, Anthony Smith. He was a defensive end for the Raiders and the Broncos.
Mm.
And kind of looking back to his early life, his abusive older brother had raised him after his mom's early death, and he also had witnessed his father abusing his mother too.
Wow.
He escaped by attending and playing football for the University of Alabama and then Arizona.
Mm.
Does it sound like sports provided an exit from a rough life?
Yeah, it always does. Sports just kind of help you get out of certain situations. So yeah.
He was drafted in the first round, 11th overall, and he played 7 seasons with the Raiders. And in 1997, he signed with the Broncos, but decided to retire.
Mm.
So if the story stopped there, you'd think. Do you think he would have become a serial killer, hearing from his past and all of that?
Yeah. I mean, if you think about that story, that's automatic. That's an automatic excuse. Like reason. But the fact that he, did he end up being? Well, he stopped being one, right?
Well, during the 1993 season, Smith got injured, and he started playing basketball with kids in the projects in Los Angeles.
Okay.
He acted as a father figure for the kids, and he ended up actually attending school meetings and buying them like necessities, notebooks, and things like that.
Oh, that's great.
So it sounds like Smith has a soft side.
Yeah, something, I don't know what changed him, but something turned his, that around, which is good. That's great.
Yeah, it seems like things took kind of a dark turn for him. After the NFL, Smith firebombed a place of business. He broke his ex-wife's arm and was involved in the disappearance of a person who is said to have seen Smith's murder kit.
Mm.
So this is something with literature related to how to murder, and also included were weapons, silencers, zip ties, and what I think is the scariest thing about this, a police officer uniform.
Wow.
So what do you think about his post-NFL resume so far?
I mean, this is crazy. I mean, all this stuff you don't even care about his NFL career. It's too much stuff.
Yeah, the story gets a lot crazier. He was eventually convicted for killing his neighbor's brother as well as his supposed drug dealer. And he also ended up murdering 2 brothers while questioning them, posing as a police officer.
Wow.
Smith currently lives in prison. He's going to be there for life.
Mm-hmm.
And an interesting wrinkle here, his wife is a district attorney, and they're still married with 3 kids.
Wow.
Why do you think his wife stayed with him?
I have no idea. It's something that she knew about that a lot of people probably didn't know. Maybe he had a problem, an issue, and she was like, I'm going to stick beside him. And I mean, they do have kids, so it's like he can't really, they're going to always see each other, be around each other.
They have that connection.
Yeah.
And then up next, we've got Randall Woodfield, as known as the I-5 killer. And he stands out because out of the other 2 that we've looked at, I think that he's what society kind of thinks of as what a typical serial killer is.
Yeah.
So when he was 13, he was known to be a peeping Tom, and he also flashed people. His parents ended up putting him through therapy, and he was said to have had some serious mother issues.
Mm-hmm.
So we know he is a killer, but his parents tried to get him help.
Right.
And I think this shows that killers aren't always from a rough upbringing.
Right.
What do you think?
Yeah, they're not always from a rough upbringing. Some just kind of get drawn into that. You can might not be in the environment, but just be something draws you to want to do that stuff. So I don't know what grabbed them to do it, but yeah.
Yeah, and in high school and beyond, Randy was popular. He was also known as a great football player. He got recruited by colleges, and they largely pretty much ignored his criminal record that he had built up.
Wow.
The Green Bay Packers drafted him in 1974. Round 17, pick 428, although he was released shortly after. Does it sound like maybe Green Bay saw something in him?
Yeah, they did. It was either that or they were desperate. They're like, hey, you seem like you're pretty good enough. We're going to grab you. We don't care about your, we'll deal with the other stuff.
Yeah, that seems like it happens often now.
Yeah.
Where colleges, teams, they're willing to overlook some really
bad
serious
stuff. Yeah. That's kind of weird because I feel like it's been like that since back in the day. I feel like back in the day, you probably a lot of players got away with a lot of stuff.
Well, and if it's someone who maybe just needs a second or third chance and they're able to turn their life around, then
Right.
that's fantastic. But
I mean, if it's like a constant thing, it's like,
it's a problem.
yeah.
So Whitfield's victims were mostly young women, and he was caught after 2 years. He started killing people close to him, and that's what ended up kind of backfiring.
Giving them life.
He ended up killing 7 women, but unofficially they're saying it could be 20 to 40 victims. And that's what I think of when I hear the word serial killer.
Serial kill, yeah, it's at least 20. I say at least 20 because you're going around killing, capturing, whatever you're doing. You know what I mean? It's some sick stuff, James.
Yeah, and he's currently serving a life sentence in Salem, Oregon. And kind of looking at this, he focused on women and all of that. Do you think his charm or popularity helped with his killing?
Probably at first. They probably, you meeting this guy, you probably think, oh, he's a good, person. He's big, he's played football, this and that. Then come find out, yeah, you're trying to do something to you. So it's a, he put on a disguise, basically.
Yeah, and I read that Whitfield is actually rumored to have carried his plane ticket to Green Bay training camp. So I guess he's holding on to that still. And supposedly keeps all the mail that he has with the team, too.
Okay.
So do you think he's still a Packers fan?
Yeah, he is. It's some, they gave, they took a chance on him. So he's going to always have that loyalty with them.
Yeah. Y'all, please let us know what you think about that. Serial killers in the NFL, and which sport you'd think would have the most serial killers.
Yeah, absolutely.